Hello everyone and welcome back to Up 360 Circuits, your go-to channel for electronic tutorials, embedded systems and practical IoT projects. In today's project, we are building an SHT3X based temperature and humidity data logger system using an Arduino compatible Shield 3.0 and an SHT3X Environmental Sensor, an Arduino Uno, an SD card reader, an SHT3X sensor, a breadboard, the SD shield, and some jumper wires. With this system, we would be able to measure real-time temperature values, measure real-time humidity levels, store environmental readings directly to an SD card, and create a simple embedded monitoring and logging system. This project demonstrates how embedded systems can be used for environmental monitoring, weather logging, and industrial data collection applications. So now I'm going to explain how everything is connected step by step. So you take your SD shield and connect it to your Arduino Uno. So the SD Shield 3.0 has numberings for digital pins and then grounds and the analog pins too. So just find them and align it with the numberings on your Arduino, and then you can just put it in. Just press the pin inside like that. Yeah. Next we'll put SD card into the shield. Just put it in. Then our breadboard and the sensor. Just place the sensor on the breadboard. Then take your jumper wires and connect V in to V in on the shield. The shield also is connected to the V in, the ground, and all the other pins on the Arduino. So it's fine to just connect it directly into the shield. So we'll connect our V in into the V in on the shield, 5 volts here. Then ground to ground. To ground. SCL to A5. A5. Then SDA to A4. So now I'll walk you through the software implementation of the project. We start by including our libraries, the Adafruit SHT31 for the sensor, the Arduino.h for Arduino implementations, the wire.h, the SD.h for the SD card, and then the SPI.h for communication between the SD card and the Arduino. Now we'll go on to define MISO, MOSI, SCK, and CS pins. So we put them on pin 12, 11, 13, and 10 respectively. Then we create an object for the Adafruit SHT class. We go on to our void setup, and then we initialize the serial monitor, serial.begin. Then we say if our SD card does not begin, our serial monitor should display SD card mount failed. But if it does begin, it should say the SD card is ready. Then we also move on to initialize our sensor. So if the sensor does not begin, it says it could not find the SHT sensor, and then delays and loops there. So move on to our void loop. and then we read our temperature readings, or get our temperature readings by calling the SHT31.read temperature. Same for our humidity, we'll call the SHT31.read humidity. Now, if we go on to say if the temperature and humidity readings are not valid, it should print failed to read temperature and also failed to read humidity. Or else, if the readings are valid, it should just serial print the readings that it gets. Then we add a delay just to give the sensor time to get the values. Now we'll move on to the SD card, and then we create an object for file that we also call file, and then we tell it to open the SD card, open a file in the SD card that is called sensor, just like this. Then we serial print waiting to file, and then once it gets the temperature readings, we tell it to file it or store it in the file that was initially opened. Same with the humidity. And then once it's done, it closes the file and serial print done filing, so we know that it has filed those readings, and then it waits for 5 seconds and then looks again. Or else, if it could not find or open the file, it says failed to open file. Alright, let's power up and test the system live. Plug in your Arduino cable and shield into your computer. And then you upload your code. You upload your code, and we would wait while that uploads. Once it's done, you open your serial monitor, and now you can see the temperature and the humidity values appear, and it also proceeds to open up the file to store them in. So we wait until we get like 5-7 readings, then we can confirm that it is saved into the SD card. Alright, now that we have some readings, I would unplug my Arduino and shield, and then remove my SD card and put it into a reader to confirm that the readings have been saved into a file. Okay, now I'm going to plug in my SD card reader because I already put in the SD card. So I'll plug it in and check to see if a file, so I saved my file with the name sensor, so we check in to see if that file has already been opened and readings have been stored there. So plug that in. Then you go to your files. Okay, as you can see, the SD card reader shows here, so we click on that and we can see a sensor file here. In this project, we successfully designed and built an SHT3X based temperature and humidity data logger system using an Arduino compatible Shield 3.0 and an SD card module. We were able to measure real-time environmental conditions, read accurate temperature and humidity values, display live readings on the serial monitor, and continuously store sensor data on an SD card. If you found this project helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. For quality electronic components, check out of 360 Circuits. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next.